The sky above the city burned with deep red light. Smoke covered the tall towers. Thousands of alien ships floated silently between the clouds. Far below them, millions of people stood around a giant metal platform built in the center of the city. Nobody smiled. Nobody spoke. Everyone had come to watch an execution. At the very center of the platform, a young alien woman slowly walked forward. Heavy energy chains were locked around her hands. Her long silver hair moved softly in the hot wind. Her blue eyes looked tired. She had stopped fighting hours ago. The soldiers pushed her down onto her knees. The crowd became silent. Some people watched with fear. Others watched with anger. Many simply looked away. The giant screen above the platform showed her face to the entire city. A loud voice echoed across every street. Prisoner number 7. Guilty of helping human refugees. Guilty of betraying the Empire. Punishment, immediate execution. The words echoed again and again. The young woman closed her eyes. She knew this moment would come. She did not cry. She did not beg. She only whispered one quiet sentence. I hope someone survives. No one heard her. Above the platform, several black warships opened their weapon ports. Bright blue energy gathered inside the giant cannons. One shot would erase her forever. Near the front of the crowd stood an old alien man. He lowered his head. He could not watch anymore. Beside him, a small child held his mother's hand. Mother, the child whispered. Why is she dying? The mother could not answer. Even the soldiers standing nearby looked uncomfortable. But orders were orders. At the far end of the platform, the commander stepped forward. His black armor reflected the red sky. His cold yellow eyes looked across the crowd. There will be no mercy today, he announced. This is what happens to anyone who helps humans. The crowd remained silent. Then another door opened. Heavy footsteps echoed across the steel floor. Everyone turned. A single human soldier walked onto the execution platform. His armor was scratched from many battles. Dust covered his boots. His rifle rested quietly in his hands. His helmet hid his face. People began whispering. A human. Why is he here? Is he the execution soldier? The commander smiled. Perfect timing. He pointed toward the prisoner. You earned this honor. End her life. The human soldier stopped walking. For several long seconds, he did nothing. The wind blew across the platform. The prisoner slowly opened her eyes. She looked directly at him. Neither of them spoke. Something felt strange. The human looked at her as if he already knew her. The commander became impatient. Soldier, do your job. The human slowly reached for his helmet. Click. The locks opened. He removed it. The crowd gasped. His face was calm. A small scar crossed his left cheek. His tired brown eyes showed no hate, only sadness. The alien woman stared at him. She had never seen this human before, but there was something different about him. He looked like someone carrying a heavy secret. The commander laughed. Are you nervous? Do not worry. She is only another alien. The human remained silent. His eyes never left the prisoner. Then he noticed something. Around her neck hung a small silver necklace, half hidden beneath the chains. His breathing stopped. He recognized it immediately. Years earlier, someone wearing the exact same necklace had saved his life during a terrible battle. He had searched for that person ever since. The commander stepped closer. Enough waiting. Raise your weapon. The human slowly lifted his rifle. The crowd held its breath. The alien woman closed her eyes once again. She expected death. The commander smiled proudly. This is how loyalty looks. 5 seconds. 4. 3. The city became completely silent. Even the wind seemed to disappear. Then, the human turned. Not toward the prisoner. Toward the commander. The commander frowned. What are you doing? The human answered for the first time. His voice was calm. No innocent person dies today. The commander's smile disappeared. You are making the biggest mistake of your life. The human tightened his grip on the rifle. I already made that mistake years ago. I will not make it again. The commander shouted. Guards! Arrest him! But nobody moved fast enough. The human pulled the trigger. A bright blue blast crossed the platform. The commander jumped aside. The shot missed him. Instead, It struck the giant control tower beside the execution machine. Boom! A massive explosion shook the entire platform. The energy barriers failed. Warning alarms screamed across the city. Lights flashed red everywhere. The chains around the prisoner unlocked. The execution platform began breaking apart. Pieces of metal crashed into the streets below. The crowd ran in every direction. Soldiers shouted in panic. Warships above started moving into attack positions. Smoke filled the air. The alien woman opened her eyes in shock. She looked at the human. He lowered his rifle and reached his hand toward her. "Come with me. For now. Just trust me." She hesitated only for a second. Then she placed her hand in his. Above them, dozens of enemy soldiers rushed onto the collapsing platform. The commander slowly stood up through the smoke. His face burned with rage. He pointed directly at the escaping pair. "Seal every exit. I don't care what it costs. Bring me the human. And bring me the girl. Dead or alive." The execution platform shook harder with every second. Steel beams snapped apart. Bright blue sparks exploded into the air. The giant structure that had stood above the city for years was now falling to pieces. The human soldier held the young alien woman's hand tightly. "Run," he shouted. She did not ask questions. She ran beside him. Behind them, hundreds of Imperial soldiers poured onto the platform. "Stop them. Do not let them escape." Laser fire filled the air. The metal floor exploded under their feet. The human pulled the woman behind a broken wall just before another blast struck. Pieces of burning steel flew over their heads. The woman looked at him. "You saved me." "Why?" The human looked toward the collapsing bridge. "We don't have time. Move." Another explosion threw both of them across the platform. The ground cracked open between them. For one terrible second, the alien woman slipped. Her feet lost balance. She began falling into the burning streets hundreds of meters below. She closed her eyes. Not again. She thought this was the end. Suddenly, a strong hand caught her wrist. The human had jumped after her. With one arm wrapped around a broken support cable and the other holding her tightly, he refused to let go. The cable groaned under their weight. Far below them, fire covered the city. The woman looked up at him. "You will fall too." The human gave a small smile. "Then we fall together." Slowly, painfully, he pulled her back onto the broken platform. The moment they reached solid ground, the cable snapped and disappeared into the flames below. The woman stayed at him. Nobody had ever risked their life for her, especially not a human. A loud mechanical voice echoed across the city. Emergency lockdown activated. All city exits sealed. Above them, black drones appeared from the smoke. Their red eyes searched every corner. The commander had already begun the hunt. "There!" one soldier shouted. "They are running east." The human quickly looked around. On the far side of the platform stood an old maintenance elevator. Half destroyed. Almost forgotten. He pointed toward it. "That is our only chance." They ran as more laser shots exploded behind them. The elevator doors were bent open. The human forced them wider. Inside was complete darkness. Without hesitation, both stepped inside. He slammed the emergency switch. The elevator dropped. Fast. Much faster than normal. The woman grabbed the wall to keep her balance. The lights flickered. Metal screamed around them. Above, explosions continued. Finally, the elevator crashed into the underground level. Dust filled the small room. For several seconds, neither moved. Then the humans slowly stood. "We alive." The woman looked around. Old tunnels stretched into darkness. Broken pipes leaked warm steam. No soldiers. No drones. Only silence. She finally spoke. "My name is Lyra." The human looked at her for a moment. "Ethan." She nodded. "Ethan. You had every reason to leave me. So why didn't you?" He remained quiet. His eyes moved toward the silver necklace around her neck. "You wear something I have seen before." Lyra touched the necklace. "My mother gave it to me. She said it belonged to our family for many generations." Ethan's face changed. His breathing became slower. Years of memories returned. A battlefield. Snow. Fire. Pain. A wounded young human soldier surrounded by enemies. Then, a mysterious alien woman had appeared from nowhere. She had carried him to safety. Before disappearing, she had left behind only one memory. The same silver necklace. Ethan whispered, "I've been looking for its owner for 12 years. Lyra froze. "My mother disappeared 12 years ago." Before Ethan could answer, a loud crash echoed through the tunnel. Boom! The ceiling shook. Dust fell around them. Someone had found the elevator. The commander was closer than they thought. Heavy footsteps echoed through the tunnel entrance. Dozens of Imperial soldiers moved underground. Their flashlights cut through the darkness. "They can't be far. Search every tunnel." Ethan immediately switched off the emergency lights. The tunnel became completely dark. He carefully guided Lyra through a narrow maintenance passage. The space was barely wide enough for one person. Behind them, soldiers walked only a few meters away. One flashlight beam passed directly across the opening. Lyra stopped breathing. If anyone looked inside, everything would end. A soldier suddenly paused. "I heard something." He slowly turned toward the hidden passage. Ethan quietly raised his rifle. One shot would reveal their position, but he had no other choice. The soldier stepped closer. Closer. Only one more step. Then an explosion echoed somewhere deeper inside the tunnels. The soldiers turned immediately. "They are running that way." Within seconds, every soldier rushed in the opposite direction. Silence returned. Lyra looked at Ethan with surprise. "You didn't fire." Ethan smiled slightly. "I didn't need to." From the darkness ahead, a small floating repair drone appeared. Its blue light blinked softly. It circled Ethan once before speaking in an old robotic voice. Identity confirmed. "Welcome back, Captain Ethan." Lyra's eyes widened. "Captain, you told me you were only a soldier." Ethan looked at the drone, then lowered his head. "I was." The drone projected a glowing map of the underground city. At its center was one location marked in red. Project Eclipse. Then the drone spoke words that made both of them freeze. Priority message. Subject Lyra is not simply a prisoner. She is the final living key. The glowing words floated in the dark tunnel. Subject Lyra is the final living key. Silence filled the underground passage. Lyra stared at the tiny repair drone. "What does that mean?" The drone did not answer immediately. Its blue light blinked several times, as if searching through old memories. Then it spoke again. "Access denied. Identity confirmation required." Ethan stepped forward. "I'm Captain Ethan Cole." The drone scanned his face. A soft green light appeared. "Identity confirmed." "Welcome back, Captain." A hidden metal door slowly opened inside the tunnel wall. Cold air rushed out. Dust covered the old hallway beyond. No lights. No sounds. Only darkness. Ethan looked at Lyra. "We're going inside." She hesitated. "What if it's another trap?" Ethan looked at the open doorway. "If the Empire wanted you dead, they already had the chance. They want something else." Lyra silently followed him. The door closed behind them. The hallway stretched deep underground. Old human symbols covered the walls. Broken screens flashed with weak blue light. It looked like nobody had entered this place for many years. As they walked, Lyra noticed pictures hanging on the walls. Humans. Aliens. Standing together. Laughing. Working side by side. She frowned. "I thought humans and aliens were always enemies." Ethan shook his head. "They weren't. There was peace once." "What destroyed it?" Ethan's eyes became heavy. "Fear." They made everyone believe that fear was stronger than trust. Neither of them spoke again. A few minutes later, they reached a huge steel door. Above it were two faded words. Project Eclipse. The drone floated toward a control panel. Opening archive room. The heavy door slowly moved aside. Inside waited a massive underground laboratory. Rows of broken computers stood covered in dust. Glass chambers lined both sides of the room. Most were empty. Some were shattered. Others still held strange alien machines. Lyra slowly walked forward. "This place. It feels familiar." Ethan noticed a large screen on the far wall. He pressed the power switch. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the screen came to life. A woman appeared. She wore a white scientist's uniform. Her silver necklace looked exactly like Lyra's. Lyra gasped. Mother! Tears filled her eyes. The recording began. My name is Dr. Lyra. If you are watching this, it means I have already failed. Lyra could not move. The woman on the screen smiled gently. My little Lyra. If you survived, I am proud of you. Lyra covered her mouth. She had not heard her mother's voice in 12 years. Dr. Lyra continued. The Empire believes they created the energy hidden inside our blood. They are wrong. Our people protected it for thousands of years. It was never meant to become a weapon. Ethan listened carefully. The scientist looked directly into the camera. There's only one person who can activate the heart core. My daughter, Lyra. The final living key. The recording ended. The room became silent again. Lyra whispered, I don't understand. Ethan slowly answered, the Empire wasn't trying to kill you. They were trying to control you. Before she could reply, warning lights suddenly turned red. The drone spun wildly. Alert! Unauthorized access detected. Heavy footsteps echoed outside. Boom, boom, boom. Someone was breaking through the main entrance. Ethan quickly grabbed his rifle. They found us. The steel door shook violently. Another explosion hit. Large cracks spread across the metal. Lyra looked around. There has to be another exit. The drone projected a map. Emergency escape route available. But access requires heart core authorization. Lyra looked confused. How? The drone pointed toward a glowing crystal in the center of the laboratory. It floated inside a glass chamber. Soft blue light filled the room. The heart core, Ethan whispered. As Lyra stepped closer, something impossible happened. The crystals suddenly became brighter. Blue energy flowed through the entire laboratory. Every computer turned on. Every screen lit up. Ancient machines that had slept for decades came alive. The chamber opened by itself. The crystal slowly floated toward Lyra. It stopped only a few inches from her hands. She never touched it. Yet the light wrapped around her like gentle water. The drone spoke with excitement. Heartcore recognizes rightful guardian. At that exact moment, the laboratory walls began showing old star maps. Hundreds of hidden planets appeared. Secret human colonies. Ancient alien worlds. Lost military bases. Everything the Empire had spent centuries searching for. Ethan stayed in disbelief. This changes everything. Boom. The main door exploded inward. Smoke poured into the laboratory. Imperial soldiers rushed inside. Behind them walked the commander himself. His armor was damaged from the execution platform. His face burned with anger. There you are. His eyes locked onto Lyra, then onto the floating crystal. A cruel smile spread across his face. So, the legends were true. He slowly raised a small black device. I never wanted you dead, girl. I wanted you to open the heart core for me. Lyra stepped backward. Ethan stood in front of her. The commander laughed. One human against an army. You still believe you can win. Ethan calmly raised his rifle. No, I believe. I can buy her enough time. The commander lifted his hand. Every soldier aimed their weapons. The laboratory filled with red laser sights. Then, without warning, the heart core released a blinding wave of blue light. The entire room disappeared inside the explosion. A wave of bright blue light burst through the laboratory. The ground shook. Every weapon stopped working. The red laser sights disappeared. The Imperial soldiers looked at their rifles in panic. Nothing moved. Nothing fired. For a few long seconds, the entire room became silent. Only the heart core floated above Lyra. Its soft blue light surrounded her like a shield. The commander stayed in disbelief. No, this should not be possible. Lyra slowly opened her eyes. She could feel a strange warmth inside her chest. It was not pain. It was peace. She looked at the glowing crystal. It moved closer as if it already knew her. Without touching it, she whispered, "What are you?" The heart core answered, not with words, with memories. Suddenly, the laboratory disappeared around her. She saw a beautiful world covered with blue oceans and silver forests. Children from many alien races played together. Human ships landed beside alien cities. Nobody carried weapons. Nobody feared anyone. Then everything changed. Dark warships filled the sky. Explosions destroyed the peaceful cities. Families ran through burning streets. The Empire had not protected the galaxy. It had destroyed it. The vision ended. Lyra opened her eyes. Tears rolled down her face. They lied to everyone. Ethan stepped beside her. What did you see? She looked at him. The war was never about survival. It was about control. Before Ethan could speak, the commander shouted, "Enough!" He pulled a small metal sphere from his belt and threw it across the floor. The sphere opened. A powerful pulse spread through the laboratory. The heart core flickered. Its blue light became weaker. The commander smiled. "I knew this day would come. I prepared for it." Hidden doors opened along the walls. Huge combat robots walked into the room. Their armor was black. Their eyes glowed red. Unlike the soldiers, their weapons still worked. The commander pointed at Ethan. "Kill the human." The robots fired at once. Ethan grabbed Lyra and threw both of them behind a broken control station. Energy blasts tore through the laboratory. Glass chambers exploded one after another. Pieces of metal flew everywhere. Ethan leaned around the corner. 3 quick shots. One robot lost an arm. Another lost its head. The third kept walking. "It doesn't stop." Lyra shouted. "It doesn't have to," Ethan answered. "It only has to slow us down." The drone suddenly appeared beside them. Its blue light flashed rapidly. "Captain, I have found an emergency route." A hologram appeared. A hidden train tunnel led beneath the city. At the end of the tunnel, an old military hangar. Ethan smiled for the first time. "If the ships are still there, we have a chance." He looked at Lyra. "When I say run, don't stop." She shook her head. "I'm not leaving you. You already saved me twice. I'm not running anymore." Before Ethan could answer, another robot smashed through the wall. Its giant metal fist crashed toward them. Lyra reacted without thinking. She raised a hand. The heart core flashed. A wave of blue energy struck the robot. The machine froze in place. Then it slowly turned toward the Imperial soldiers. Its red eyes became blue. The commander stepped backward. "What?" The robot fired. Several Imperial soldiers were thrown across the room. The commander screamed, "Destroy it!" Chaos filled the laboratory. The reprogrammed robot attacked the others. Explosions echoed everywhere. Smoke covered the battlefield. Ethan looked at Lyra in surprise. "You controlled it." She stared at her own hands. I didn't mean to." The heart core glowed brighter. "It chose you," Ethan said quietly. "And now it's waking up." The drone interrupted them. "Captain, 30 seconds before tunnel collapse. We must leave." Ethan nodded. He and Lyra ran toward the hidden exit. Behind them, the commander pushed through the smoke. His face was filled with hate. "You cannot escape forever." He pulled a long silver blade from his back. Then he charged at Ethan. The two crashed into each other. The sword barely missed Ethan's neck. Ethan struck back with a rifle stock. The commander stumbled. They exchanged blow after blow. Neither man wanted to fall. Finally, the commander knocked Ethan's rifle onto the floor. It slid across the room. The commander smiled. "Now you're just a man." Ethan wiped the blood from his lip. "That's enough." The commander attacked again. At the last second, Ethan stepped aside. The commander's blade became stuck inside a steel support beam. Before he could pull it free, Ethan punched him hard across the face. The commander crashed into a damaged control console. Electric sparks exploded around him. Lyra grabbed Ethan's arm. "We have to go." The laboratory ceiling began to crack. Massive pieces of concrete fell around them. The hidden tunnel doors started closing. The three of them, Ethan, Lyra, and the little drone, ran through the narrow passage just before the entrance sealed shut. A deafening explosion shook the underground base. The entire Project Eclipse facility collapsed behind them. Dust rushed through the tunnel. For several minutes, they kept running without looking back. Finally, they reached the end of the passage. A gigantic underground hangar stretched before them. Rows of forgotten human starfighters rested beneath layers of dust. Most were broken. Most would never fly again. But one sleek black gunship, still had power. Its engines slowly came to life on their own. The cockpit lights turned blue. Then a calm artificial voice echoed across the silent hangar. "Captain Ethan Cole. Welcome home." The voice echoed through the silent hangar. "Captain Ethan Cole. Welcome home." The black gunship came to life. Blue lights ran across its wings. Its engines hummed after years of silence. Dust rose from the floor as hidden systems slowly woke up. Ethan stood still. He never thought he would see this ship again. Lyra looked at him. "You know this ship?" He nodded slowly. "It was my last command. I thought it was destroyed." The small repair drone flew toward the cockpit. Ship status, 72% operational. Weapons available. Hyperdrive available. Emergency defense systems online. Ethan smiled for the first time in many years. "We're leaving." The three quickly climbed inside. The cockpit was old, but everything still worked. Screens lit up one after another. Outside the hangar, loud explosions echoed through the tunnel. The Empire had found them again. The commander had survived. His angry voice blasted through the speakers. "You cannot escape. This planet belongs to the Empire." Ethan ignored him. He placed both hands on the controls. The engines roared. The massive hangar doors began opening. Sunlight poured inside. For the first time in years, the forgotten ship prepared to fly. Suddenly, warning alarms filled the cockpit. The drone spoke quickly. "Enemy battleships approaching. 20, no, 30 targets." Lyra looked at the screen. The sky was filled with black Imperial warships. "There are too many." Ethan stayed calm. "There always are." The gunship shot out of the hangar like an arrow. Enemy fighters attacked immediately. Red lasers filled the sky. Ethan rolled the ship left, then right. Every blast missed by only a few meters. Lyra held on to her seat. "I've never flown before." Ethan smiled. "Good. You won't know when to be scared." Despite everything, Lyra laughed. It was the first real laugh she had made in years. Behind them, enemy fighters closed in. One missile locked onto the ship. The warning alarm screamed. The drone counted down. Impact in 5 seconds. Ethan pulled the control sharply. The gunship dropped between two tall towers. The missile followed. At the last second, Ethan flew upward. The missile crashed into the buildings instead. A huge explosion destroyed several enemy fighters behind them. The drone sounded almost happy. "Efficient flying, Captain." But the victory lasted only a moment. A giant Imperial battlecruiser appeared above the city. It blocked the entire sky. Its main cannon slowly pointed toward them. Lyra whispered, "We can't escape that." Ethan looked at the glowing heart core floating beside her. "Maybe we don't have to." She looked at him. "What do you mean?" "The Empire believes power comes from fear. But your people created something different. They created hope." Lyra slowly closed her eyes. The heart core floated into her hands. Its blue light became brighter than ever before. The battle cruiser fired. A massive beam of red energy rushed toward the small gunship. The entire city watched. Everyone believed the human and the alien girl would disappear forever. Then, the heart core answered. A giant shield of blue light appeared around the ship. The red beam struck it. For one long second, the sky became completely white. When the light faded, the gunship was still there. Not a single scratch marked its surface. The entire city stayed in silence. The commander looked up in horror. It blocked the cannon. Lyra opened her eyes. The heart core was no longer just protecting her. It was spreading across the city. Blue waves moved through every street. Broken machines stopped attacking. Defense drones lowered their weapons. The systems that had obeyed the Empire for years suddenly shut down. The people looked around in confusion. No more alarms. No more fear. Only silence. The commander screamed into his radio. "Restart the network." "Do it now." Nothing answered. His empire had lost control. Ethan landed the gunship in the center of the city. Thousands of humans and aliens slowly gathered around. Nobody knew what would happen next. The commander walked forward with a last group of loyal soldiers. He still carried his silver blade. His face burned with anger. This isn't over. He raised the weapon toward Lyra. Before anyone could react, Ethan stepped between them. The commander smiled. You've already lost. Ethan quietly shook his head. No, you already did. The commander attacked. One quick strike. Ethan moved aside. The commander's own speed carried him forward. His blade slipped from his hand and crashed onto the ground. Imperial soldiers aimed their rifles. But no one fired. They looked around. Their city was free. Their machines were silent. Their people were no longer afraid. One soldier lowered his weapon. Then another. Then another. Within seconds, every rifle pointed toward the ground. The commander looked behind him in disbelief. No. You obey me. Nobody moved. An old alien woman stepped out of the crowd. Then a human child. Then hundreds more. For the first time in many years, humans and aliens stood together. Not as enemies. As one people. The commander slowly fell to his knees. His empire had ended without one final battle. Ethan picked up the silver blade. He looked at the man who had hunted them across the planet. Lyra quietly asked, "What will you do?" Ethan looked into the commander's frightened eyes. Then he dropped the blade onto the ground. "I won't become what you are. I choose mercy." The crowd remained silent. Then, one person began clapping. Another joined. Soon the entire city echoed with applause. Not for a victory in war, but for a choice. Months later, the execution platform was gone. In its place stood a beautiful garden. Children from different worlds laughed together. No chains. No soldiers. No fear. Lyra stood beneath a young silver tree. Ethan walked beside her. She smiled. The day I closed my eyes, I believed my story was over. Ethan looked at the peaceful city. Sometimes, the end we fear is only the beginning. Together, they looked toward the stars, where a new future waited, not built on fear, but on trust, courage, and the unthinkable choice of one human soldier who refused to pull the trigger.